All right, thanks for staying with us. You're watching a special coverage of the Independence Day. We've been speaking to some people who have been part of the not pre-independence, but pre-democracy, 25 years of stability in democracy, and they've spoken to us about, what this why we should value what we have now, and that Nigeria is truly independent. But let's now take more reports on, situation reports from across the country. Let's start with security. All right.
As security forces continue to scale up operations in the country, several bandits and terror kingpins, including members of the gangs, have been taken out. But despite these achievements, security experts are saying that if the factors responsible for the security challenges are not addressed, the threats will emerge. TVC News defense correspondent Siphon Asian reports.
These suspects are being prosecuted for their alleged involvement in kidnapping. The police arrested members of this kidnapping ring in Jigawa and Kano State for allegedly killing their victim after collecting a ransom of 3.5 million naira. Kidnapping for ransom is top on the list of security challenges mostly carried out by bandits and terrorist groups across the country. A security incident tracker by Beacon Intelligence recorded 8,252 cases of abduction in the past year.
If you compare it with previous years, the numbers are actually increasing. The figure we had for previous years, depending on what year you're looking at, is a range between 6,000 to say 10,000 people killed, and then between 4,000 to 5,000 people abducted in a year. Then it's clear that we've not done well. And this is not to say that our security agencies have not been active. They are. The level of operation has increased. The intensity of the operation has increased. The interdiction attacks have also been more effective.
The significant successes have resulted in the killing of more than 9,000 bandits and terrorists since the beginning of the year. These include several high-profile leaders such as Baleri Fakai and Halilu Sububu.
Yes, some of the bandit leaders are being killed, but we don't as yet have a strategy to prevent the reincarnation or the resilience of the bandit groups. So they are still able to get weapons, they are still able to recruit new members. The machines and motorbikes that they use for moving from point A to point B, they're still able to use those machines. The fuel that they need for those machines, they are still able to get those fuel.
A report by SBM Intelligence titled "Terror in Nigeria's Largest State" indicates Niger State has become home for competing factions of insurgents.
Niger State not just hosts a big space for agriculture, which is central to Nigeria's food security, but it also hosts the Kenji Dam. It's a dam that is very, very important to Nigeria's energy needs. But in the past few years, we've seen an influx of bandit groups take refuge in those places. Now, if you look at the map, several suites of local government areas, talking about Shiro local government area, where the Shiro Dam is, talking about Rafi, talking about Munya, Paiko local government area, all of these places have been colonized by bandit groups.
The federal government is still devoting a significant portion of its budget to security. PricewaterhouseCoopers reports that over the last 9 years, security spending has risen steadily to 14.8 trillion naira. Despite this, insecurity remains a challenge, negatively affecting economic activities and undermining investor confidence.
A lot of people are finding it difficult to make ends meet. And it's not an issue of morality, it's an issue of let me survive first. So people do whatever they can to ensure they survive, and unfortunately it means that a lot of these things become violation of the law or actions that threaten the lives of other people.
Economic downturn, as an example, climate change and its consequences, weapons proliferation, drug addiction, geopolitical developments that are happening in our neighboring countries. Those are the drivers. And unfortunately, we've not done a lot in addressing those core drivers. If you put together the effort of the federal government, because most of those drivers are not just at the federal level, they are actually at the state level. So as yet, we don't have a coordinated mechanism where we see the role of both the federal and state governments in addressing those drivers.
National security strategy prescribes a whole of society approach in addressing both the threat factors and the security issues. But implementation is also fraught with challenges.
There is no one-size-fits-all in summary. If you have a problem that needs dialogue as a solution, use dialogue. If you have a problem that needs force, use force. If you have a problem that needs carrots and stick, or dialogue and force, use both. Don't try to use only one and then say, okay, this problem is not working, and then we are going to double down on it. The default Nigerian response is always double down on bad ideas. Given how much we've lost in terms of lives, resources, finances to this, I do not think we can actually afford to keep doubling down on bad ideas going forward.
So many successes have been achieved, but yet there's still work to be done. We're not where we want to be, but we're heading there and we're on the right path.
While the federal government is pursuing a robust program aimed at tackling poverty through sustainable development and improved living standards, security challenges in the country continue to evolve. Sifon Essien, TVC News, Abuja.
All right, thanks for staying with us now. Just listening to those reports and, different opinions from security experts. That's Sifon Essien's report. But Nigerians are still sharing their experience, those who lived before the Independence Day, and then those who also have an opinion on how this country, where this country is and where this country should be going. And one of them is the former Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Emeka Anyako. He's also sharing his experience and thoughts. Absolutely.
When I was growing up, Nigeria was very different from what it is now. The Nigeria in which I was growing up enabled us to entertain hopes for the future. As a young man, I saw Nigeria as one united country where ethnicity was not an important factor. In fact, one Nigeria meant a lot to us. I'm an Igbo, and I married a Yoruba young lady. We saw ourselves as Nigerians. In 1955, my close friend at the University College of Ibadan and I traveled from Ibadan to Maiduguri using trucks. There was no question of insecurity. And when I went abroad, Nigerian passport was respected. And Nigeria was the darling of countries all over the world. But things have changed. Now there is fear when one is contemplating traveling by road from Lagos to other big cities. One sees hunger and massive poverty. People, even some professionals, have been reduced to begging for assistance. Things have changed, and I believe and hope that what the patriots are doing will contribute to making things better in the country.
Being one nation, I think we have cause to be very grateful to the Almighty God. If you are a traveler, you start from Maiduguri, you say you want to go to Boni in River State, you cross at least not less than 150 different tribes, communities, but we are still together. We are Nigerians. I have hope for the future, but then we must do the right thing. Our leaders must be God-fearing. That's what we are lacking in this country, good management. We have all what it takes. When you put Nigeria, you compare and contrast Nigeria with other countries, you find that God has endowed this country with enormous resources, human, agricultural, solid minerals, oil. I think we have come to a stage that we should talk less and act more. Therefore, we are coming from somewhere with all the tribulations and trials, but that place, I'm talking about history now, was better than we are here. That's why I told you I'm nostalgic.
Nigeria is facing a great challenge based on high fees of education and the high rate of fuel subsidy. So I want my own Nigeria country to be the best among the whole universe. I want everything that we are facing now to be solved.
What I want to tell the government is that please, we need, our youth doesn't have jobs to do, so we need it. And education also, we lack much in education. Also, we need some facilities of agriculture because we are lacking in agriculture. And please, about boundaries, they are disturbing us. We hope government can work about it.
Yes, we have made some progress in the last 64 years, but more fundamentally we have failed. And I'll give you 3 indices to make my point. What was the level of poverty in 1960? 79, 83, 85, prior to 1999. What is the level of poverty now? Certainly, it is not as high. It was not as high as it is now. 2, if you look at the desperation of Nigeria to travel abroad, that is also an index to prove that Nigeria has not had it good in terms of. Thirdly, how come 64 years after independence we are still importing petroleum product, refined product? The one that has just been commissioned is a mess in controversy.
What I know is that Nigeria has improved a lot. Though presently, because of economic reforms that are very necessary, that Nigerians are facing a bit of some hardship. We know that, but we also learn that the government is trying to make some changes to ensure that they reduce the level of sovereignty of Nigeria. And for some of us that know a bit about economics, we know that these reforms are necessary. And with time, the results of the reform will be positively felt by Nigerians.
I will interrupt our lineup or programming now as we turn attention to Jigawa State for a live coverage on the grand rally for local government election.